The best mixes. The number one hits. DJ International Radio EU.
Todd?
Hey, hold on a second.
Hey, Todd, let me do this. Let me try this. Well, how's it going? Is it cool now?
Yeah, I think, wait, hold on. There it is.
Rocky sounds like the voice I use.
Yeah, he does. Hey, Todd, let me do this. I got Benji on the line, but let me do this. Let me call you back on your landline. That may be better. What do you think?
No, this will work, yeah, because I don't even have a landline here. But yeah, because I tested with my friend.
Okay, all right, cool. All right, well,
you hear me?
I can hear you. Hey, Benji, you hear him?
Yep, loud and clear.
Oh, cool. Hey, so, Todd,
okay.
There's Benji.
Yeah.
Benji, there's Todd.
Hey, Todd, how are you, man?
Hey, I'm okay.
So,
Good to hear.
Todd, I played him that track you sent me yesterday, that video, the thing you had on YouTube. That was really cool. The Love Child record,
Huh?
Love Child Liquid Melodies.
Oh, yeah, that was one of the old ones, like 94, 95. Yeah, I put that
That's
one.
what I told you, Rocky. I told you it sounded like it was from early to mid-90s.
Yeah, we're talking, and it sounds like an early '90s record.
Yeah, everything was from mine was pretty much like 89 to like 96. Then I did a few things in 2001 with a friend of mine. Most of it was like 88 at the earliest, and then most of it was over by like 96.
You know what? Hey, Todd, that record could do well today. I mean, it sounds like, something they could play today.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites. I think I still have a dad of that somewhere. Because that was recorded to the video off of vinyl, so a lot of the high end kind of gone. That record was played to death by somebody.
Nice. Hey, Todd, how come you don't have an accent?
No, he's from Philly. I thought he was from England. He's from Philly.
He thought I was from London yesterday. I don't know why.
Oh.
I don't know why.
Years ago, Spin Magazine thought I was from New York, but I was in Massachusetts.
Yeah, because it sounds like you're overseas right now. Are you overseas? Are you overseas?
No,
I'm in Philly.
Oh, okay. I swear to God, it sounded like the phone from like London or something, so I'm thinking you're overseas as well.
But Todd, let me say this: with that, when you sent it over, we were on Facebook, and you sent it over. I'm listening. I go, I did not realize how old it is. Now, was that something you released yourself, or was that on?
Yeah, that one I put out myself. Because I got so tired of all the labels. They didn't want to put out my good stuff. Almost all my best stuff never came out. And the worst part is it was retail tested. We used to go to like Sound of Market on 11th Street here.
Right.
It was like the biggest store. So you know how you used to sell vinyl in the day, you put the test pressing on and see how many people wanted. So we used to just take a cassette of the new tracks and put on a test pressing, and they wouldn't know the difference. So we get an honest opinion rather than a biased one.
Sure.
So I used to send out retail tested tracks, and the A&R people attacked, even though I already had hits. It was insanity.
So what were the big labels that you were dealing with, or didn't?
I was like the 12th one on Strictly Rhythm. So I always had the Love Child single on there. That was like the biggest. And then I was on tracks. Ron Hardy signed me there. And he wanted to come visit. That was funny. I didn't know who he was at the time. Because I was in 89 and he was like a famous DJ there. But we knew like Frankie Knuckles and you and Larry. But I hadn't heard of like Ron yet. So I was talking to him on the phone because he used to call me all the time for the tracks office. And he wanted to come visit me. That's when I was growing up in Massachusetts. I was still like 19 or something like that. And he wanted to come to my parents' house and stay the weekend. But Larry wouldn't pay for him to do it, so it never happened.
Yeah, I didn't know that Ron was A&R over there. Was that like?
Yeah, I guess someone told me it was Marshall first, but then I guess in '89 it must have been Ron. He was doing it for a while.
Yeah.
Larry had tons of people doing A&R. He had Marcus Mix over at Rock. He had Vince Lawrence. He had, a ton of people, But of course, he never paid them well, so they all left.
Right. yeah, it was a different thing over there for sure. But so Strictly Rhythm, that's the premier label in the world, and you had. So did they miss your records, or all of them, or some of them, or how'd that work out with them two?
That first one they did really good with, and then I kind of got blacklisted. But I came back around like '95. But Barry G was doing A&R by then. She's the one that passed on a lot of the good stuff. And then she put out this really hard, progressive one that, I don't know, it wasn't that good.
Yeah.
It didn't really match the other stuff.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You got to be careful with those guys. A lot of those A&R people are on their own agenda and then looking at it as the market. You know,
so I would send them like retail tested stuff, and then she kept saying, I want this progressive stuff. And I'm like, what? So I made this track. It was like really hard. It started at 130, went up like a punk rock record to like 255, then crashed down to 80 beats per minute. It was the worst thing I ever made in my life. It took me like 2 hours, and she signed that and gave me $1,200.
Wow.
But everything I sent her that was good, like that thing I played you yesterday, and it was retail tested. She kept passing on. I don't know.
Wow. Who's she? Were you dealing with Gladys first and then Barry?
Yeah, Gladys is the one that signed the original Love Child and blew that up.
Okay.
The sweet ambient records that everyone liked.
Love Child had an ambient mix or something on there?
Yeah, that was the original. Then Gladys had me do the club mix and the deep dubs and stuff. I finished it up more. Because originally it was an EP. It had 4 or 5 tracks, and she really liked sweet ambient by itself. So I had to go to the studio and finish more mixes.
Right.
So what was your you ended up putting stuff out yourself is what happened, or?
No, mostly everything came out on labels. I was on Strictly twice, on Tracks twice, then I was on Easy Street with that big vocal record with Gary that did top 10 in the UK on Radio 1. And that did big in New York too. The Gary Long Quest, Victim of Love, Why'd You Do It? And then the only thing I put out myself was that EP, that track was first on it. So that did pretty good. Byron picked it up for distribution, and we sold more of that at Sound of Market than Madonna's singles were selling, the remixes. So we knew it would sell.
That's hot stuff. I mean, so how would you describe that record and compare it to today's music? What do you think?
I don't even listen much today. That's the problem. There's not even any stores, and I'm in the street all the time. I don't even know what a hit is. The only song I think I've actually heard coming out of car stereos in years was, the last one was probably Drake, Started From the Bottom. I haven't even heard, I don't even know what a hit is these days. Who even listens to music?
Sure.
What even concerts? Remember, you'd hear Planet Rock everywhere. Even after that, you'd hear records just playing everywhere, even if you didn't go to clubs or listen to the radio. But now you don't even hear music. It's the world doesn't even have music anymore. It's just strange.
Well, that's the whole thing that the world is in the world of the our big record companies, small record companies, radios. They're trying to figure out what the heck's going on. They don't know, even though they've led us to this point where this has been taken over by the geeks at the internet, who are sort of have no idea what's going on, but we're in all this confusion because of the internet, because there's no real communications or understandings between the infrastructure that was there and then what's there potentially in terms of the internet.
This is the DJ International Radio EU.
There's so many different markets, and I think that's probably the problem, that when the markets that we knew 20 years ago, they're 10 times different, and I think they're, since there's so many different genres, when you have drum and bass and all these other, different genres, like Skrillex, all the stuff that he's doing, you know what I mean? So the markets, I think, are just, so caught up, so diverse, so that, it's kind of hard to find, good music, and that's probably it.
I think there's a lot of really good music out there, but there's so much of it that becomes a problem. And when I'm seeing Bench, Todd, tell me what you guys think. That you've got you got the software out there that can make great music, or at least good music or emulate good music, and then you've got the people like yourself who are Todd, who are out there, making or have made really good music, underground music. That's why I call it, maybe call it minimal. I don't know what the definition of it is, but you end up with all this music out there, 25,000 records a week at Beatport, and but the scene has become not a scene to sell records. It's become a scene to advertise you for your promo gigs as a DJ and possibly an artist. Really, the DJs are the ones running the show these days. But it's not so much selling records. It's about getting booked in shows. What do you think?
And I think that started probably in the late 90s, early 2000s. That, because I can remember Louis Vega playing records and people were always, hey, Louis came to Chicago last 2 or 3 times and he's playing the song, and then I spoke to his sister at his record label, Masters at Work, and she goes, well, he has records that only he plays for himself, and he won't release those, you know what I mean? So I think that's just it. They made certain records so that they'll have records that nobody else has, and so again, I think, when when 2000, New Century came aboard, I think, a lot of things changed, majorly, and so it's a tough market, because if you go back 20, 30 years, you lose that personal touch. You'd be able to go to, the power plant and say hi to Frankie Knuckles, or the garage and see Larry Levan, or go to the record stores and see everybody, Ron Hardy's, and that's where I met Larry Levan at Vinyl Mania in New York, and, but it's nowadays you have to email everybody, your music, and the personal touch is gone. You have no idea if they're going to play your record. You have no idea if they're playing the type of music that you're making. If you go minimal, it might not be deep enough for, whatever DJ, or vice versa, every kind of, sound, whether if it's, drum and bass or whatever, and
well,
I think that's a problem.
I agree with you, and that's why we're doing this kind of talk and stuff with great artists, like Todd and the other people we talk to, because this is sort of, to me, this is sort of replacing those moments where you could contact people, and it's really great that we got a hold. That's one good thing about instant messenger. It does allow you to get a hold of people. Not that everyone's paying attention to that, but it is pretty cool. What do you think, Todd?
Right.
Yeah, I do miss the stores, though. That was the best thing, like hanging out at places like Sound and Market, or we had like 611, Armand. Funko-Mart was good for like the stuff that was old classics back then. Now everything's old classics.
So what do you go out to clubs a lot or anymore, or what do you do?
Nah, not in a long time.
Yeah.
Last time was, I don't know, like the 90s, I guess, like the mid-90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to Sound Factory in New York a few times. Then here it would be like, I guess the Nile was the best. We used to go there a lot, like every week.
Right. How about
People
radio?
talk about a club on Facebook a lot, and I think YouTube, called Catacombs in Philly. What was that like, or do you know any? Have you ever heard of that place?
That was before me. I think that was like the best one. That was before the Nile and everything. I think it was in the same spot.
Okay.
Yeah, Wayne was around her. They knew about that one. The guys from Sound and Market, they had gone to that one for years.
Okay.
I think that was the late 80s.
Okay.
That, and there was that underground baseline club on Arch. It was big.
Okay. You ever hear a guy named Phil Dickerson?
Yeah, I used to see him at 611. He came around a lot.
Okay.
When I'd be down there, he'd be in there buying records.
Was it 611 a record label?
Yeah, it was a label and a store, and then a clothing store they had. They had everything.
Wow, okay.
That was down on South Street. Yeah, I think they've been closed for a while, too.
Okay. Yeah, they made some really cool stuff. It wasn't quite house, but it had like a house feel to it. And, because I remember I had a red vinyl record on the label. I can't remember the guy's name who owned the label, but he made some really cool stuff. I think he was very cutting edge. and because it sounded like he was taking some high energy record and sort of mixing it with house, and he had his own unique sound. I can't even think of it, but quite of this. The 611 records, did fairly well in the underground kind of.
Yeah, 611 was more like progressive stuff. They were like doing the break beats and like high, like faster, harder house type of stuff.
Right.
Not like the deep stuff. That was more like the sound of market people like me, and like Armands and Funko Mart.
So what are you doing these days? Do you have any plans to do any music? I hope.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get back. It seems easier now. You can just grab a computer and get started.
Yeah.
In the old days, we used to have to we'd have all that. You had to get the sounds. I mean, you have to buy the equipment to get the right sounds, and then the equipment was so old it didn't really work right. You'd have to hit stuff with a hammer or whatever.
Yeah.
It was like trying to keep everything working was like crazy back then.
Yeah. Now that your problem is there's so much technology or software out there. The hardest part of it is trying to figure out which software to use, or which.
Yeah, like anyone can do it now.
DJ International Radio EU.
Now they have like 8,000 compressors and at least can make the stuff mastered, right? Back in our days, we were all doing everything in our bedrooms, and everyone had like a 12-channel mixer at best, so we didn't have like 300 compressors and ability to cut off frequencies and stuff on the kicks or whatever.
Yeah,
it was all just raw, straight to tape.
Yeah.
If you had a DAT tape and not an old busted reel-to-reel or VCR to master, you were lucky.
Yeah, but now, these guys are you can be 12 years old and start making beats. I know there's a kid who was 10 years old I was talking to on the internet. He's a son of a friend of mine, and he wanted to become a DJ, and I showed him where to go to get some of the the software. He came back the same day and said, I made my first beat, and it was amazing because this is what this generation's about,
Yeah, he's got things now.
Yeah. So listen, I'd love to hear what you're going to do in your interpretations of your visions these days, because everyone's got this this stuff out of Europe and or what everyone's trying to push on the mass market, whether it's Beatport or whoever. There's not really a huge amount of as many records as there are. There's no real direction in music, for sure, in my opinion. There's not enough diversity, or maybe there's too much diversity. It depends how you look at it, because you've got everyone's doing that kind of stuff from Europe, which is more high energy, maybe, or a lot less funky, and a lot of the funk stuff is just lost, I think, and there's still a lot out there, but it's not really taking any kind of direction, whether it's in the radio, in the mixes. Every mixer's out there making his own record. They got his own record label.
That's right. Yep.
Every radio station is doing their own thing. So you have no real continuity other than the fact that these guys are doing their own shows. So all the guys in Chicago are doing shows that they think they can get away with. The guys in New York are doing the same thing, and there's very little in London and Amsterdam. There's very little direction in music, the way I see it going on right now.
I think that's the major problem.
Oh, go ahead.
No, but
I was just agreeing with Rocky, because I think that's the major problem, is that, and that I brought up about Little Vega, where, late 90s, early 2000, he's doing about 10, 20 songs that he's not releasing, and he's basically making them for himself, and so, whether he took, a Ricky Martin record and remixed it and never released it, or a Madonna record, or whoever, so that's what they pretty much do. It's almost like, they're just, strictly out there for themselves, very sort of narcissistic, and I think that could be one of the problems. There's no unity, there's no continuity, and I agree with Rocky. So sorry, Todd, go ahead.
Yeah, the one good thing, though, is that, even though there's no hits, there's not much of a community. I guess once you start, if you go back to making music now, at least you can pretty much do whatever the hell you'd want. Because back in like the 90s, like for a while, like around especially like 95, like I was saying, you couldn't even, they started like pretty much, even though it was underground house, they were like burying them, were telling you what to do. Like the only things they would sign, you had to like start following like certain trends and restricting the creativity to like ridiculous points just to get stuff signed. So
well, you know what?
now there's no one really about to. Like you could get a Twitter following and a Facebook following if you were around back then, like me. And then I guess you could just sell stuff on track stores and at least do what you want.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I've heard there was 25,000 records a week being released.
That's great.
And that's because every DJ in the world is making 2 or 3 records a week, probably, you know.
Right, and so that's the problem, Todd. The problem is that every Tuesday there's 25,000 new songs being released by Beatport. So the thing is, or Track Source, you know, I think that I heard a number of like 59,000 every Tuesday between iTunes and all the downloading sites. So if you're talking about making a record and then just taking it to Track Source, well, it's like one record up against 60,000 records. So how does your music transcend? How does your music, rise above all the others? You know what I mean? And I think that's the problem, in a nutshell.
But,
granted, it's easier to make music, but it's more difficult, to get it sold or just to get it in the ears of certain DJs or DJs, period.
But that's why you move into that thing of, okay, I'm not going to sell the records from the downloads and all that, but I am going to get gigs as far as mixing records. So my question to you, Todd, is are you DJing or where do you stand on that?
I used to years ago, but I'd be into going back to it.
Hey, dude,
I was looking at that Pioneer setup. I should get something like that just to like practice and get back into it.
You got to do it, man. You got to do it. Hey,
if exactly what you have to do, Todd.
If someone like that girl Hilton can become a DJ, and as phony as that stuff is, that I see going on with that. I mean, I'm not saying anything about her as a talent. I'm just saying that whole thing was. I don't like stuff when it's so, pre-programmed and not really a lot behind it, creatively. That's what I see a lot of DJs are doing. But Benji's been trying to get me to start mixing again, doing some DJing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
back in the day, in the 70s, Rocky was DJing, and Rocky was highly respected. So I'm telling him, people don't want to hear, Rocky's an immense amount, I mean, Rocky, believe it or not, was the first one to call the genre of music house. Everybody makes their claim, but, the proof is there. The first record, Music is the Key, Rocky was a producer on that, and, Rocky started labeling the music house. Prior to that, nobody else ever did that. They called other genres of music subjectively house, disco and dance, but that was different genres. And so the genre that we know of today as house, you're talking to the man who actually, coined it, labeled it, and all the good stuff, So that's why I tell him he needs to get out there and tell his story. He needs to tell people this was my idea, my concept, and people just don't know that, you know what I mean? So that's why I keep pushing Rocky almost on a daily basis that, come on, let's go, get your DJing on and he clips all these new DJs that aren't truly DJs.
Yeah, he did that before Europe because everyone knows who Rocky Jones is.
But here's the thing:
he's the founder of DJ International. That you pay people would be like eating it up. They'll probably pay you $20,000 a night.
Well, hey, listen, that's incredible, and it's not so much the money, but Benji's got me into it, and I'm actually looking at different software and ways I could do some programming now, and I'm actually getting a little tweaked up. There's a group in Germany who want me to go over there and spin at an event there, and we're going to be doing some events here in summer.
That's awesome. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and we're going to do it for promotional purposes. I'm not trying to be Tiesto or Bad Boy Joe.
You're being humble, and that's great.
Yeah.
I like that. That's great. People can respect that.
Yeah.
But the truth is the truth. This is the 30th year of DJ International anniversary, and people are going to want to know what transpired. This is what set the whole fire of the genre off, 30 years ago, and because I see so many people out there telling their stories about house music, how they got it started, and they're just off. They're talking about other different genres. They're not talking about the genre of house music. So and again, it just needs to be defined. Everyone's, what's house music? Easy. It's a genre of music. That started here in Chicago back in 1985.
I think that what's happened is that like music, like DJing, it's gotten off the point of the actual art of it, and the art is really the communication between the DJ and the dance floor, the dancers that are dancing. And to me, I've not heard any talk about what that reaction is. In fact, I'm going to say this: when I see stuff like at all this stuff happening in Europe with these festivals and all that, I mean, it's amazing. I never thought there would be anything like that. But at the same time, I never thought this music would evolve into a situation where people are just standing around watching a DJ. That's totally opposite of what the music is for. The music is for dancing. It's for that emotional expression and communication to yourself and to whoever you're dancing with, I suppose. But the thing is people have forgotten about that. Now it's more about communicating to the audience. It's almost like what rock icons and a lot of rap icons. It's become more about the guy making the set or making the music or directing the music or whatever you want to say. It's more about them than it is about the music, and that's not how I see what really the art of DJing and the music is about.
Okay, can I tell you something? Listen to this. Back in 1982, my favorite DJ was Kenny Jason, okay? And I saw him at a club go beat it, and I was blown away, Rocky. And there's probably about 100 guys, DJs standing around watching him. Yeah. Yeah. And to me, I thought that was one of the most, incredible things. And so, because what happened in Chicago prior to house music was that DJs were incorporating those sort of hip hop, DJ skills. The turntablists, what they do, and probably that Chicago, I think, could have been the only city on the planet that was actually doing that, because it was either one or the other. You either mixed like you were in a club, or you did, the tricks and turntablist battle DJ stuff.
Well, there's a balance. When the DJs did that in a club, that was definitely a major point, as long as it wasn't overdone. I mean, you get to the point where these guys are doing their tricks on the turntables and all that. That's not what the music is. But if they do it on beat, it definitely has a place to it. But
right.
Todd,
I just was blown away because back in '82, that's around when I first started scratching, and I just was blown away by that because it was, I think I started learning to DJ around '80.
A worldwide connection. With the DJ universe. Right here, right now. DJ International Radio.
And getting that jetting Phalan sound, and to me, I thought that was incredible, And then you saw Chicago DJs trying to take it to another level. And this is what I tell people over the years. When you see DJs that are in competition, and they raised the game as a DJ in Chicago, and what they did is then they started incorporating drum machines. And to me, that's actually the beginning of house music, because you get Jesse Saunders and Farley Jack Master Funk and the pioneer and Kenny Jason, these pioneers of house music. That's kind of where things went, And people talk about the warehouse, they don't realize that they never played house music at the warehouse. They played disco that people called it house music. So that was like a different genre, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of misconstruing going on, and so I think it's up to you, Rocky, to tell the story. But anyway, go ahead, guys.
But Todd, when you're spinning, I'd love to get you doing some mixes on DJ radio.
Wow, that sounds good.
Isn't it?
No, because the second I heard your track, it's like when you hear something, you know right away what it is, and I think you reflected the vibe, perfectly. You know, and I know Benji heard that because as he's going, he's commenting, and I know he was seeing the exact. He was saying whatever he was saying that was real. It wasn't just someone interpreting something. You know.
Right. You know what? Actually, at the time I had a record store, and actually I still do, but it was open on a regular basis. Now I do it by appointment. But back then, you know, we were getting, you know, all the new stuff in on a weekly basis, and to me that sounded like a UK import, because there was tons of stuff coming out of the UK, sort of like post, you know, techno rave stuff, and you know, the Kashmir sound was pretty huge at the time, and Strictly Rhythm was pretty huge at the time, and you know, so that it seems like that era, you know, it reminds me of something from like '93.
Hey, Ben,
you know?
Ben,
yeah, that's what it was from, around '94, I think, maybe '96.
Hey,
no,
Todd.
94.
Todd, bless us with you told me this yesterday, and I've been dying to ask you, and I think Benji will get a kick out of it, and we definitely got time if you want to tell it. You were saying a story about a sandwich and Larry Sherman from
the pastrami sandwich and Larry Sherman. Yeah, well, everyone knows about the famous Trax Records pressings, right?
Yeah.
So I had this record with the one that Ron Hardy signed, the Rhythmic Assault, Welcome to the Underground. I got probably the worst pressing on Trax Records. The bass is in one channel and the treble is in the other. And I sent him a killer 15-inch master that I did in the studio. I did the original in the home studio. I actually went to the studio at the Advance to spend it all, right?
Yeah.
But what happened was Scrappy was there, and he told me, so Larry was mastering the record, and he was eating a pastrami sandwich.
Yeah.
And a piece of the pastrami sandwich, either a crumb or a piece of the pastrami, fell onto the mastering lathe, and that's why the basses in the one channel and the trebles in the other. And he never even checked. He just pressed the damn thing like that.
That's hilarious. So even in this real sense of the term, the music had flavor, huh?
Oh, yeah. When it hits you at Chicago Trax pressings, I got the all-time worst, I think.
Congratulations.
There's actually a reissue from 2000 I hope is better, but I haven't been able to get a copy.
Hey, what's the name of that record? I'm going to look it up right now. What's it called?
Rhythmic Assault, Welcome to the Underground.
Okay. All right. So let me ask this. When you were there, was his wife there?
Oh, I don't know. I never actually went there.
No, Rocky. His wife passed away. I want to say like 1987, 88.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Anyway, so Rhythmic Assault. I don't know if I'm spelling this right.
Yeah, I've got it on.
Oh, I got it right here, I think.
Oh, okay.
Welcome to the Underground.
Yeah.
Hey, let me see if I can play this real quick.
Oh,
I hear the pastrami coming.
You can hear it.
Yeah.
Sorry, you would think the past so good, but the way it's pressed is a disaster.
wow, Todd, so you were here in Chicago back then?
No, I was still in Massachusetts, but I was talking to all the people from Chicago and sending them tapes. I used to talk to Bam Bam like every day. He's actually got the pressing on the not the pressing, the publishing on the Love Child thing, because I didn't have a publishing company.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
all those guys started on DJ International, and
And I probably was sending you a lot of tapes too, but I don't think we never did.
I know we never did, and I don't know why, because you get some great stuff. But at the same time, a lot of times if we were actually rolling in effect, and we had certain priorities and stuff like that. But listen, your stuff we would have definitely put out for sure if I had heard it.
Yeah, like a lot of times back then, people had a lot of things in line already, so you had to hit them at the right time.
Yeah, and the other thing too is a lot of guys wouldn't, it's like who you know in the business in a lot of ways. So a lot of times, a lot of these guys would say, hey, do you know someone at DJ? And they would say no. All the time they do, but they're trying to get their stuff in. And a lot of that kind of stuff happened. A lot of the kind of stuff people would say, oh, I know someone at DJ, and they didn't, So that could be why we never heard of what you were doing. But I'm listening to your stuff right now. It's great.
Yeah, Rob had one. He was like the only one that actually said "Welcome to the Underground," so he really liked that part.
Yeah.
Todd, where were you at when you were in Massachusetts?
I was on the other side of the state in a small town. It was pretty funny where I grew up. But there was actually a lot of it. There was guys from the South Bronx that were in this thing, and I used to have, and my friend Gary was there. That's where I met Gary. And then, like, a lot of people were up there from New York. So we used to get tapes sent in, and we'd buy imports, or we'd call up the stores in Chicago and New York and get records sent. So.
Sure.
See,
Wow,
this was the real beginning
like those
of
mixtapes. We'd have like the Tony Humphries mixtapes would filter up, and I had a lot of the Hot Mix 5 tapes. Like we had it.
Wow, that's cool.
And then I was a DJ then too at first, and a video DJ, which was a lot of work. But for some company, we would have to take it was like moving a Guns N' Roses tour to do that video DJ stuff back then. It was like insanity. We used to have like a truckload full of equipment just to set up.
Okay.
So man, we had to get your mixes on the radio, and whatever you work on musically, make sure you send it our way to DJ Radio, and I hope to work with you in the future, and I'm sure Benji does too, because because you're real. You're not just someone who's coming into the game just because you want to throw your hands up in the air.
He's been around.
I was around way back in the days. Yeah.
That's great. So when you were top 10 in Europe, in UK, did you go over there? End up over there?
No, actually, they called Gary, and he did I think he did an interview. Like MC Hammer did it the one day, then he did it the next. That's how big we were. Even though MC Hammer was corny, like we were up there with MC Hammer and Michael Bolton. I didn't even realize the extent of it. Like you guys in Chicago didn't realize when your stuff first went to Europe.
Yeah.
Like we were actually like pop radio stars, but we didn't even hear it. We were like sitting at home like broke.
Yeah. Hey, but the guys over in the UK made a lot of money. That's for sure, right?
Oh yeah, we didn't even get paid a cent on that. Larry's known as a shyster or whatever, but at least Larry, like in the documentary, he even told you, and he wasn't nearly as bad as like Easy Street just screwed us.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't get anything. We didn't even get told when it got licensed. My friend came home from Sound of Market when he was living in the same building as me and told me, I saw your new UK import. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And so he brought me down the next day, and it was on the wall of the store, and it was beautiful, with a full-color label. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. And the label denied it even got licensed, let alone paid us.
Yeah, but let me tell you something about that. Having gone through that, I know a lot of what can happen. Two things.
You got to listen to this. This is extremely important.
Right.
You got to listen to this. Right, Rock.
So there's two things that come to mind. One is that there's a difference between a licensing deal and a label deal. Okay, a label deal is basically modeled after what the big corporations used to do with their catalogs. They never licensed anything. What they did is they did a label deal that was now distributed in Berlin or wherever, and so artists weren't ever notified of that situation. And in fact, if the record companies didn't know what was going on, it was up to those companies in those territories. Now, what ends up, the real deal is, so they would put stuff out. There was a record, I don't know if you're familiar with it. It was called The History of House, and it was like a 10-record CD. How many records were that, Benji? That was.
I believe there was 12 records. It was a 12-record box set.
Right, and they also had a CD set, which was a little bit less. But the thing is, that box set is still known today, and at that time, the guy who put it out, it was a bootleg. Brian Carter. It was a bootleg record, meaning it was unauthorized. We knew nothing about it.
Oh, really?
DJ knew nothing about it. That record came out, and I saw it, and I was talking to him. I said, well, what's up with this? Matter of fact, I didn't even know it till I saw it. And then I said, well, and he said, oh, don't worry, you're going to be taken care of on all this. And I was laughing at the record, basically, because they had Madonna on that record, and it had nothing to do with house music. So I knew that this was not something Chicago would have done. But at the same time, there was times when I went to Europe with a record ready to come out that and it wasn't even when we were pressing with Larry Sherman. We started pressing with him until we were bootleg too much. And
he was bootleg you at the back door.
Yes, absolutely. But here's what happened: I was one of the last records we pressed with them. It was not out. It was going to come out the day after I was going to be in Europe for some reason. It just happened that way. So by the time I was on the airplane and landed, the record was already in the record stores in England. Not by DJ International. I mean, it was the DJ International logo and all that, but it was not our pressing. It was a bootleg copy, and the only one who could have done that is whoever had access to the masters on that, and which was the pressing plant. And so you got a lot of that, and then you have people like West Side and all that who did label deals and never accounted for anything. Even some of the biggest labels out there never took care of the paperwork as they should have. And, the labels, domestic labels get, end up being responsible for that or getting blamed for all that stuff. So there's a lot of nonsense with licensing and what that ends up meaning. And so whatever Europe did, the guys in the United States always got blamed for it. Now, Larry Sherman, I happen to believe he probably deserves a lot of that blame.
Yeah, well, you know why, Rocky? Because that was Larry's intent. Larry's intent was to screw over, and he would tell you. He would tell you that, he'll say, Todd, I'll put your record out. I'm not going to give you an advance because I'm Trax Records. I have a name. You don't have a name. You want to make a name for yourself? Yes, sir. All right, well, I'm putting it out, and I'll pay you on that, which Larry never had an intent on paying anybody, but that was, he would tell me. And people would say, well, how do you know? Because he told me that's how he would do business, And if they didn't like it, too bad, sue him. And I'm like, why would you want somebody to sue you? He was like, well, I know they don't have the money to sue me, so, screw them. And that was Larry, you know what I mean? And it's not trying to badmouth him or anything. It's just that's the way he did business.
Yeah, that's the way he said it.
Yeah, he even told me. He actually gave me an advance on that first record. I'm probably one of the few that got an advance. It was $500, but I actually got it in cash.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow, that's good. Congratulations.
Yeah. There's horror stories of people, I know Marshall Jefferson's first two records, he didn't get paid on Virgo Tracks and Move Your Body, but, again, Marshall might have had agreed to, Larry's terms. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the whole story there. I know that Marshall did put it on DJ National and sign the contract and all that. So I'm not sure what contract he had with those guys. And that was part of the whole thing back then. Is that you never knew what was really going on because you had people trying to circumvent the record labels. Traxxon was always trying to go after everything we were doing, and then you had some artists were running to two labels at one time trying to sell the same record. And it's the same story, whether you're in house music or jazz or rock and roll. That kind of stuff has always been going on, and I think it's a nature of people doing what they did. Yeah, that's not so much the beast, it's the nature of people, some people, whatever.
There you go.
Larry, anyone know?
No, I know nothing about it. He got divorced. He got remarried to a groupie, and then
Rachel, I think.
Yeah, and then I don't know.
So he married that Rachel, remarried them.
Yeah.
Oh,
they were together. We don't know whether it was a marital agreement or whatever, but they were definitely together. Now they're apart, and Rachel told me a few years ago that Larry was on his deathbed, but then there's people on Facebook that says he lives out in the trailer out in Wisconsin or something like that.
Yeah.
So we don't really know. It's just everybody, throwing in the rumors that they heard.
Well, the thing is that
that's great on Facebook, but I haven't been able to find Larry.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that I don't know if tracks have changed too much. So that's my thing. But anyway, so let's anything else you want to talk about with your experiences and all that? That's all great stuff to hear with these different. The pastrami thing is great though.
Oh yeah, that's pretty fun. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff.
How about what do you think? First of all, what's your definition of house music?
Yeah, well, I guess it depends if, like, the Chicago stuff and then the New York stuff is kind of different. Like, that rhythmic soul is like a Chicago sound, and then you got, like, the New York sound that came later, but it's more, like, slower and bass-heavy and deeper, and more chords and more music, too.
Yeah. How would you compare or can you compare anything happening overseas with real house music? The kind of stuff you were doing.
Oh, that new stuff, like the EDM stuff?
Yeah.
That's more like, I guess, trance, like just generic dance music.
Yeah.
I like some of that dubstep stuff, but it gets annoying. It's all the same.
Right. But it is creative, though. You got to. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, it was pretty creative. I mean, it's all kind of the natural progression. Everything moves along, like, in a step. Like, you can see, like, all the producers, it's not like we even copied each other. Like,
no.
Especially in the 90s, there was a progression of, just from technology changes and club changes. You hear how things change in tempo and the styles change a little, and it's just like a progression, just like everything went from jazz to blues to rock and roll to like metal to like disco. It's the same thing. Once house came along, we just kept moving it along.
Todd, let me say this, because you are a real pioneer in the truest sense of the word, and one of the guys who was a DJ for me at the warehouse was a guy named Mike Dunn. He's huge right now. He's with a group called the Children's Field. They got a big.
I used to have some of his records.
Yeah, and he was also on DJ, but he right now they got the biggest house party in Chicago and probably the world. It's a neighborhood party. It's not really international.
Not the world, but that's definitely Chicago.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you go to a love parade and there's 2-3 million people.
And there's loads of people really international, all cultures. And Chicago is primarily, and where they have it is primarily the greatest party in the world, but it's 100%, 99% African American community, which is okay, But the thing is that what we have now is you have this guy Mike Dunn, who's a DJ at the warehouse. He was an artist on DJ International. He's now one of the premier chosen few. And the thing is what he did at the time, he made some really good underground stuff back in the day. He also we put him on a lot of records as doing hip hop because he's a good rapper. In the essence, after the warehouse closed down and all that, I was able to put him in a place called the Prop House as a DJ. At that point, he was still doing house music, but at that time, hip hop was becoming very big. He jumped into the hip hop realm, got signed with P. Diddy to do a record label. Okay, and what he told me, he goes, and at this time I wasn't really following too much stuff. And he says, well, the thing about house music is all the rap stuff is now taking all the house sounds and putting in their rappers. And this is probably 10, 15 years ago. So you started to get a lot of the more, that kind of influence.
This is the late 90s, right?
Yeah.
It's about late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, so now you have the what you did, what a lot of the early artists did and all that has now influenced hip-hop, which is really funny, in my opinion, because house music is anything but hard, but you're utilizing that, and that's a creative choice, I guess.
Yeah, the new hip-hop, a lot of it slowed down deep house tracks with, like, the organ bass lines from the M1, and they just get a girl singing on it, and then they have some people rapping on it, and they sample it up.
Yeah.
They just slowed it from like 124, 125 down to like 90.
Hey, Ben, I don't know if you know, I don't know what group it was. It was either Common or Do or Die. It was one of those groups out of Chicago, the big hip-hop group, or they were going to become very big. They ended up doing, I think, like this in one of their tracks. I mean, they just overtly embraced house music, which I thought was pretty cool. I don't know. Do you remember that group?
Well, you know what? I mean, Common did an interview on, I believe, GCI. And I think Ramotsky Love from WGCI interviewed him. And, he asked him, you're one of the premier, rappers in the world. And he said, so, what do you think about house music? And he says, man, I love house music. He said, growing up, going to high school, he said, you had to go to a house party. He goes, if you like girls, you got to chase the girls, and they're at the parties, So he grew up, loving house music. Also, groups like Do or Die, I believe one of the members of Do or Die is Fast Eddie's cousin. So, of course, they grew up listening to house music, but, they were doing, the rap thing as well. So, yeah, the influence are definitely there, at least for Chicago rappers like even Twister. Twister had some huge success,
Right.
Some of the biggest producers, hip-hop and R&B, were doing stuff on his first album or two, So, yeah, it's all there, There's no denying that, if you wanted to go to a hot party where, the women are at, you got to get into house music, and most of them did.
So there you go, Todd. Now's your chance to shine and take out and become dominant in the music scene.
There you go.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Come out of retirement, sir.
It seems like it could be a good time.
It is, but like you said yesterday, I know you asked me what the sales are on record.
Oh, right.
And
not pretty. The sales are not pretty.
They're not at all. But that's why I'm saying it's now the time to use the record as a marketing tool for you as a DJ. That's why you got to get back. That's why you got to get your mixes around the world on radio, and make sure you do it here on DJ International as well. And I think, listen, we're having this conversation not because we're being paid to have this conversation. This is a real conversation. This is, us chatting with you because you were one of the guys that were there. You're one of the guys who had really, not just there, you had good music, you had great music.
Yeah, thanks.
So what I'm hopefully that you can find what I'm trying to say and what Benji's trying to say is encouragement to go and do what you want to do anyway. It's not,
Absolutely.
But yeah, you should go for it, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to do that. Get back into this whole thing.
We're going to quote you on that, all right? And then when you become rich and famous, if you're not back, we're going to play this tape back, all right?
All right.
But hey, so
traveling the world with a USB stick.
Absolutely. There you go.
There you go. And then the love child of the 21st century, right?
Right.
Hey, let me ask.
That is awesome.
Here's a comment. Check this out. I was just pulling up your record on YouTube, and I found this one came up. Terry Hunter, I Can Make You See. Do you guys ever remember that record? I don't remember.
Vaguely.
It was on House Jam Records, but this is the point of what I'm trying to say. It's not so much it was Terry Hunter, but House Jam was located at 700 North Green Street. Do you know it was that place that was?
That was Jericho.
That was Jericho Rodrigo. So I didn't even know it. The reason why that place is there is because of DJ International.
Most people don't realize that. They don't comprehend that because you actually have to break that all down, Rocky, because once DJ International went there instead of recording there, Trax Records, Larry Sherman, I don't remember Rock, but he took Ron Hardy and Adrian Jet and Vince Lawrence in there, and he tried to pay them with a check, and they knew about Larry's checks, so they wouldn't accept Larry's check. Yeah. I don't remember that.
Yeah.
But we were there one night.
Cash?
Yeah, they were strictly cash. Well, you know what people don't realize is, I don't know if you remember some of the Trax records where there were literally paper sticking out of the records. And
I had a few of those.
Right. Okay. So what happened was Larry would pay a couple Mexican guys to punch out. He would actually buy records for less than a penny. He'd buy like 10,000, 20,000, and he would pay these guys minimum wage to break out, to punch out the label, so you get all the paper out of there. And then the other vinyl, he would regrind that. So instead of buying new fresh vinyl, he would actually buy old vinyl and regrind it. So I'm there one day, and I was talking to one of the guys, Pedro, and he's breaking the records up, throwing everything in there. And I'm like, hey, Pedro, you just threw, the label in there. And he said, hey, screw Larry. Larry bounced my checks in. I got no money. He said, so I'm, paying him back. That was, him getting his revenge on Larry. And it got so bad that, remember, Rocky, Larry used to sell some of DJ International records out the back door?
Yep. And I'm not going to, listen, we're not going to say who actually sold those records for him, too. There's some people that...
Larry, quite a few people.
We don't want to bring any names up.
I'm just saying we're trying transpired. I'm not trying to,
no, I know.
any evil, because I think the evil was already there.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying what transpired.
Right.
And I'm not, again, trying to be malicious.
No.
Just, this is what transpired.
Yeah.
And so what happened was, when Larry was backdooring records, he didn't realize he was showing his employees how to steal, because Larry was stealing from record labels, and so Karma came back and bit Larry in the rear, because the guy, Pedro, who was one of the guys punching out the labels, he literally would take records. I would see him down at Loop Records, and he would be selling records, instead of for $3, he would sell them for $2, and he said, "Hey, Benji, I'm just trying to get my money back." And I would laugh. I would, that's a little story in itself, so anyway. But that was, what was going on over at Fats Record.
Wow. So, a lot of history. So it's amazing when I see a lot of stuff I don't even realize what was going on because there's so much else going on. But when I saw that 700 Green Street for House Jam, I heard of House Jam, and obviously Terry Hunter and all that, but
they had Working to the Bone, didn't they? The L&R record?
Yeah.
They sure did.
Yeah.
And they also had You Can't Stop the House.
I had a house, I think.
Yeah, but the whole thing is that whole location was a DJ International place, and there's a lot of stories. Okay. That story is going to come out at some point, maybe in the documentary, the movie, what was going on there. But
you need a movie.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
Yeah. Well,
absolutely.
Well, you want my thing is I love filmmaking, so we might want to end up making a motion picture of it, but definitely we're doing a documentary, and some of what you're saying I want to include in the documentary, because I think and I'd like to interview you at some point on camera whenever we get out that way or you get out this way. We're going to be doing some stuff this summer. Hopefully you'll have your DJ thing worked out, and maybe we can get you over here to involve in what's going on down in this house thing we're doing.
Yeah, definitely. I'd be into coming out there.
Yeah, cool. All right, so
okay.
So here's the thing.
Talking to you, Todd. So and definitely keep us posted everything you're doing, and get those mixes done ASAP so we can get them up on DJ National Radio, and we'll definitely go from there.
And
anything else, Todd?
Yeah, let me just add this, Todd. I got the one track that you sent me. If you want to send me a couple other tracks, what I'll do is I'll put them in the interview, this conversation. It's not just an interview of this conversation, but let's put some of your music in there, whether it was unreleased or whatever.
Yeah, I'll send you a few on Facebook or whatever. Yeah,
please do it, and then let's definitely stay in touch. And I love what you did. We really didn't get it 100% into how you got started and all that, but maybe we'll do it next time. How's that?
Yeah, sure. That sounds good.
Yeah. So all right. Well, let's plan maybe another conversation towards the end of this coming week.
All right. That sounds good.
Okay, guys. Okay. Have a great one. Great talking to everybody.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it was nice talking to you guys.
All right, man. I love talking to you, man, and I'll see you soon. Okay.